Welcome to today's Practical Planning Tip by ParkBridge Wealth Management. My name is Jonathan Shankman. I'm the President and Chief Investment Officer of the firm. Today, I'd like to discuss a timely topic, namely financial planning considerations in the face of socialism. So, for those who are not in the know, earlier this month, Zohran Mamdani, the 34-year-old socialist and anti-Israel activist, won the New York City mayoral race. It was an interesting choice for a city that is the global center of capitalism and home to the largest Jewish population outside of Israel. The consequences of this election will be interesting and perhaps scary, but instead of sitting back and complaining about his bad policy suggestions, I prefer a more proactive approach, especially when it comes to financial planning. I understand that not everyone watching this is based in New York City. However, there has certainly been a move towards socialism in the United States over the past few years, at least at the local levels of government. So I'll offer a financial planning framework that can help families make smart money moves if a socialist becomes mayor of your hometown. First is the ability to mitigate estate taxes on real estate holdings. One asset class that many investors are worried about over the next 4 years is New York City real estate. While you may be confident in the city's long-term real estate growth, the Mamdani victory may temporarily drive prices down given his talking points on freezing rent, the $100 billion public housing plan, tax increases on corporations and high earners, and defunding the police department. While Mamdani's ability to implement most of these plans requires legislative approval, the effort to work towards these economically unfavorable plans may be enough to drive real estate prices down. The silver lining for New York City property owners is you may want to consider moving these assets out of your estate at lower valuations. Keep in mind, New York City's estate tax exemption is $7.16 million for 2025, and it's expected to adjust slightly higher for inflation in 2026. Furthermore, the federal lifetime gift and estate tax exemption in 2026 is $15 million per individual. This means married couples can shield up to $30 million next year from federal estate and gift taxes. However, if your assets are currently above these thresholds, the estate tax liability can be quite onerous. I advise folks with large real estate holdings in New York City to now meet with their estate planning attorney to discuss how they can strategically utilize the lower valuations on their real estate to save them and their heirs from paying estate tax in the future. Next point is to consider setting up a home office to save on income taxes. Safety concerns in New York City may motivate some folks to set up a home office which has tax benefits. The home office tax deduction allows individuals to deduct expenses related to the business use of their home, which can potentially save them thousands of dollars annually. The home office deductions typically only apply to self-employed, independent contractors and freelancers and S Corp owners. W-2 employees generally do not qualify under current federal law due to the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Deductions that should be considered include repairs, painting, and furniture from one's home office. Additionally, there are indirect expenses like rent, utilities, insurance, and depreciation for homeowners prorated by office size relative to the overall size of their home. It's imperative to speak to your CPA to ensure that you qualify and that everything is set up correctly. Another strategy is to move to a more financially sensible location. One of the best financial planning techniques is moving. Deciding to reside in a more cost-effective and tax-friendly environment can change the trajectory of your financial life. While I don't expect a mass exodus out of New York City by residents, I do believe that it will be a very smart financial planning move for many families. A less friendly environment for both businesses and practicing your religion openly may be the final push for some folks to make the move they've been considering. Places like Florida, Texas, Tennessee, and Ohio are just a few of many locations around the country with much more favorable tax and business jurisdictions and more affordable cost of living. If Mamdani has convinced you that it's finally time to leave New York City, this alone can put you and your family in a much more comfortable financial situation. Thank you, Comrade Mamdani. Another consideration is around charity. Consider redirecting your charitable contributions to counteract Mamdani's agenda. Zohran Mamdani has voiced support for the BDS movement and criticized Israel military actions in Gaza as genocide, which amounts to nothing short of a blood libel. Trying to change the mind of someone who's blinded by hatred is a fool's errand. Instead, I'd encourage folks to align their charitable dollars with their values to combat these hateful positions. For example, if you currently give 5% of your charity dollars to Israel, perhaps you should increase that amount to 10 to 20%. Looking for causes that are based in New York and support Israel may be particularly worthwhile to push back against an anti-Israel agenda. Now, a word about the public markets. The stock market may concern some folks due to its daily fluctuations. The reality is, most companies are run by proactive and intelligent management teams who will change jurisdictions out of New York if it becomes too unfavorable. Furthermore, the ability to gain exposure to stocks through diversified vehicles like mutual funds and ETFs minimizes an individual's exposure to any one geographic region, even if it were to become extremely unfavorable. My advice on publicly traded markets considering a socialist leader is simple. Ignore the noise and stay the course. As long as you have a portfolio that is customized to your specific goals and time horizon and are well diversified, you'll be fine. Hopefully, this 4 year experience with socialism can serve as a reminder that it doesn't work. More importantly, hopefully, it will lay the foundation for decades of new leadership focused on things that do make societies great, like safety, open mindedness, and capitalism. And with that, I hope you found this practical planning tip helpful. Until next time, stay prudent and practical. Don't forget to plan ahead.